Hi everyone and welcome to my channel Live Love Crochet. So today what we're going to be doing is a little bit of amigurumi. So I've made this doll. Her name is Anastasia. So today is part 1 where I will be showing you how to crochet her head. And then we're going to put her eyes on also. So this doll is going to be in parts, so there's going to be part 1, part 2, part 3 and so on until we get her finished. So if you would like to make this little doll with me, let's find out what we are going to need. So we're going to need a hook, which is going to be 3mm. We're going to need a stitch marker, which is very important because we're going to be working in rounds. We're going to need a needle, we're going to need some pins for when we do the eyes, we're going to need stuffing, we're going to need quite a lot of stuffing. I think for the head this should be enough, but it's always best to have some more because these little heads take quite a lot to fill. And the yarn that I'm using is going to be this Yarn Fair Tootsie Baby Double Knitting, and it's in the shade taupe, so it's like a browny colour. So I'm trying to get a skin tone with this, which I think is going to be really nice. So this is a 50g and it's also 100% acrylic. So if you are interested in making Anastasia, let's move on to the tutorial. Start by making our magic circle. We're going to drape our yarn over our fingers like that. This bit here is going to be our tail. We're going to put our thumb holding it like this. Going to take our working yarn, wrap it around our first 2 fingers. On the back side we're going to crisscross them over, and when you turn, your strands should be parallel to each other. We're going to go underneath the first strand, catching our second strand. Okay, now we need to chain 1. So with our working yarn, just going to chain 1, just like that, and then we have our magic circle. So we need to now put 6 single crochets into the circle. So going over underneath both of the strands, we're going to make our first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're now going to get our tail and we're going to pull it, but we're not going to pull it tight, otherwise it's going to be hard for us to get our hook into our single crochets. So just pull in, just so you've got a little circle in the middle there. Let's get our tail out the way. So now round 2. So we're going to start off with an increase, and then we're going to do increases all the way around. So 2 single crochets into each stitch. So we've got 6 single crochets at the moment. We're going to end this round with 12 single crochets. So finding your first single crochet, we're going to make a single crochet into there, remembering to keep your tension tight, and we're going to put our stitch marker into that single crochet that we've just worked, going back into the same stitch. We're going to make another single crochet into the next, 2 single crochets into the same stitch, one and 2 into the next, 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, so that's 3 into the next, 1, 2 into the next, 1 and 2, and into our last one, 2 single crochets. So now it is safe to pull your magic circle tail. Just pull that closed. So round 3 is going to be another increase round. So what we're going to do for this round is into the first stitch we're going to increase that stitch, and then into the next stitch we're going to do 1 single crochet, into the next is going to be an increase, and then 1 single crochet. So remove your stitch marker, find that first stitch just there, and put 2 single crochets, 1, replace your stitch marker, and into that same stitch there, another single crochet. Into the next is going to be 1 single crochet, into the next increase, 1 and 2, into the next 1. So we're going to do this all the way around. I will meet you when we have finished our last stitch. I've just finished row 3, and I forgot to say, but you should end up with 1 single crochet in your last stitch because you started with an increase, so then you should end up with 1 single crochet. So now we should have 18 stitches. So round 4 is another increase round, so remove your stitch marker, into the first stitch 2 single crochets, replacing your stitch marker, 1 and 2. Now what we're going to do is 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, into the next is an increase, so 2 single crochets into that stitch, 2, work 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, so 1 and into the next 1, and keep going, and I will meet you at the end. So at the end of that round you should have 24 single crochets going around. So now row 5, increase 1, single crochet 3. So into our first stitch, 2 single crochets, remembering to replace that single crochet stitch marker, sorry. So put your stitch marker back into there, and 2 single crochet into the next 3, 1, 2, and 3, and keep going all the way around, and I'll meet you back when we get to our stitch marker. So at the end of row 5 you should have 30 single crochets going around. So now for rounds 6 to 8, so 6, 7, 8, for the next 3 rounds we're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch. So going into your first stitch with 1 single crochet, replacing that stitch marker, into the next, making sure not to skip any and keeping your tension tight. So all the way around, 1 single crochet. So we're going to be doing this round, then another round, and then 1 more round. So 3 rounds in total. So 1, 2, and 3, and I will meet you back here when I have my 3 rounds completed. Okay, so I've just finished my 3 rows. So now you'll see your work starting to curve a little. So this side here is going to be our wrong side, and this side here is going to be our right side. So flip your work so it's facing this way. Right, so now we're moving on to row 9. So now it's going to be another increase row. So we're going to do an increase into our first single crochet there. And we're going single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1 single crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Into the next stitch is going to be a increase. So 1 and 2, and then 4 single crochets and into the next 4 stitches. So keep going and I'll meet you back here. So at the end of that row you should have 36 single crochets. Moving on to round 10 and 11, there are going to be 1 single crochet into each stitch. So that's 2 rows of 1 single crochet into each stitch. So 1 stitch, 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So I will meet you back here at the end of row 11. So at the end of that row you should still have 36 stitches. It might be worth going around and counting them. Saves you coming to your next row and realising you haven't got enough stitches or too many. Right, so for row 12 we're going to do another increase round. So this increase is going to be 1 increase at the start, and then we're going to put 5 single crochets into the next 5 stitches. So 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches, sorry. So into the next 5 we're going to go 1 single crochet into each. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Keep going and I'll meet you at the end. At the end of that row you should have 42 stitches, so 42 single crochets. So for round 13, 14 and 15 is going to be 1 single crochet into each stitch. So that's rows 13, 14 and 15. So that's 3 rows of single crochets. So 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you at the end of row 15. So I am at the end of row 15, so moving on to row 16 now. This is going to be our first decreasing round. So we're going to remove our stitch marker and we're going to make an invisible double crochet. Not a double crochet, an invisible decrease. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this first, the front loop only, just like that, and then we're going to go into the next one as well, front loop only, just like that, yarn over, pull through both of those loops there, yarn over again and make your single crochet. There is your invisible decrease. Put your stitch marker back in. I'll show you how to do that again. So now we're going to single crochet into the next stitch. So making sure not to go into your stitch that you've just decreased into. Go into the next one. And again. So you have your front loops here. So 1 and 2. So go into that one and then go underneath into that one. Yarn over, pull through those loops, yarn over and single crochet. Single crochet into your next stitch and decrease into your next. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, and so on. So you keep going and I will meet you at the end of this round. And at the end of this round you should have 28 stitches. So I'm now at the end of row 16. So for row 17 we're going to decrease 1 and single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So we're going to decrease facing our stitch marker, and then single crochet into the next 2, 1 and 2, then a decrease into the next, single crochet into the next 2, and so on. I'm going to keep going now all the way around, decrease, single crochet into 2 spaces, decrease all the way around, and you should have 21 stitches at the end of this row. So I have just finished that round, so now we're going to just pull our hook out a little bit, just putting that loop out. You can put a single stitch marker into this so you don't lose it. So now we're going to put the eyes on. So first of all, you want to establish which way you want your face to be. So your cheeks are going to be a little bit chubby. So I'm going to have mine facing this way, so with the stitch marker at the back, which I think is the best way. So now what we're going to do, starting from this little circle here, we're going to count down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. I just missed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the row where we're going to be putting our eyes. So now, if you take a pen, you want to start from this little circle at the top, this little hole, and you want to come down in a straight line. So around about there for me. Now you want to establish like how far apart you want the eyes. You might not want them as far as mine or as close as mine. You can do whatever you like here. So there's 1 single crochet, if you can see that. I'm going to go over 1, 2, I'm going to put that in the 3rd for now. I'm going to go 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to just look, and I think I'm happy with that. Let me just check, because I can always pull them out and reposition them anyway. So there is 1. Oops. I'll put that one in. I think I am happy with that. And we're gonna go ahead in a moment and stuff our heads. I'm just gonna put these safety backs on quickly. So there are my eyes secure. So I am happy with those. I'm going to be a bit far apart, but that is going to be fine. So now we need to get our stuffing. Okay, so stuffing. We're going to put into our head there. We're going to need quite a bit of stuffing for this. may not seem like a deep hole to stuff, but we do use quite a lot. So make sure to stuff these cheeks as well here. You don't need to stuff it all the way, because after the next round we can stuff what we want. So that's how it's looking so far. So I'm going to leave mine like that, just so my stuffing doesn't get caught in my stitches. So that would be rather annoying. So I'm going to put my hook back in. So now we are on row 18, which is going to be decrease 1, single crochet into the next, all the way around. So removing my stitch marker, keeping that stuffing out of the way. I'm going to go into my first front loop and into my second front loop. I'll make my decrease. And then put my stitch marker back in and single crochet into the next, making sure we don't go back into that one there. It's already been stitched into. And we're going to do that all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. So I am at the end of my row and I now have 14 stitches. So now we move on to the last row for our head. Last row of our part 1. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to remove that hook again, and we're going to stuff completely this time, because once we do the next round it's going to be a little bit small to get our stuffing in. I'm just going to really pack it in this time, because I want my head quite firm, but also I want the top a little bit squishy, because I want the cheeks to really come out. So what I'm going to say as well is I am going to put some eyelashes onto my eyes, just like I did with my doll. So I'm going to do some eyelashes. So what I'm going to say is, if you would like to see me do that, please comment below. If I don't get any comments saying that you want to see the eyelashes, I will just go ahead and do them before part 2. So if you want to see how I do that, comment down below. If I don't get any comments, I will just go ahead and do them off camera before part 2. And please, if you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to contact me, to comment down below, or if you want it private, you can email me at crochetwithme1@hotmail.com. Now I am almost done with my stuffing. Really want to get those cheeks nice and round. Need some more. I mean, when you do the next row. You can still put your stuffing in, it's just going to be a bit more difficult for you. Like, I usually just use the end of my hook just to poke it in there. Right, so I'm happy with that for now. When we come back in part 2 and we do the neck, then we can get our hook in there, or if you've got a stick, or sometimes these packs come with little sticks, little wooden sticks, but mine didn't. So I just have to make do with my hook. We'll get that pushed in. Right, so let's move on to row 19. So what we're going to do now is we're going to decrease 1. So decrease. Remembering to put your stitch marker back in. And then we're going to single crochet into the next 5 stitches. So 1 into the next 1, that's 2. Into the next is 3, 4, remembering to keep your stitches tight, and 5, I've got my stuff in there, 5, and then we're going to decrease, and single crochet into the last 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you should end up with 12 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that is my head done. So when I come back in part 2, we will do the neck, the shoulders. I will show you how to make armholes without making arms separate, which is pretty cool. So that is our doll head. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And hopefully you will join me in part 2, where we will do the neck and the body. So I will see you next time. Bye.